All right, ladies and gentlemen, you young entrepreneurs, I'm pretty sure you have had a wonderful morning refreshments. Now we're going to start the first session of the training program, our startup bootcamp for young entrepreneurs. To start the process, we got an amazing personality. He's Dr. Ranil Sugathadasa. He's a chartered engineer by profession, founder and CEO of the Motivator Private Limited, and he is in fact one of the best motivators in the world for young entrepreneurs. And he's also a senior lecturer at Faculty of Engineering, University of Moratuwa. He's an expert in that field and also an expert, subject matter expert in the world of entrepreneurship. Ladies and gentlemen, have a big round of applause. Dr. Ranil, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Very good morning, my dear friends. Aiboan, Manakam, and pleasure to be here to address you all, my dear friends. And I love your courage. Despite the circumstances in the country, you still decided to be an entrepreneur and help this country to have more dollars and to make this country a great place to live, actually speaking. So I love your courage. Let's go. Very big round of applause for each one of yours courage. Big round of applause. Bigger one. I love bigger one. Amazing. And when it comes to the courage, actually it's linked with one of your brains. According to the latest neuroscience, you have 3 brains. One is your head brain, which actually helps you to think analytically, the left side of it, which helps you to think creatively, the right side of it, which helps you to think with intuition, the middle side of it. That's your head brain. And your second brain is your heart brain, which helps you to dream big as an entrepreneur, which helps you to dream big, to solve problems in the society, to generate money for you and to solve problems in the society, to help people in the society. That's your heart brain. And where is your third brain, my dear friends? Where is your third brain? Any guesses? Yeah, any guesses? Yeah? Sorry? Exactly, it's in your stomach, gut brain. And your courage comes from your guts. I love your courage, Adhisthane, right? I love your courage. It comes from your gut brain, the stomach brain. And the stomach brain has neurons according to the latest neuroscience. Touch your gut, touch your stomach and say, I love my courage. Touch it. Touch your stomach and say, I love my courage to become an entrepreneur. Touch it and say, I love my courage to become an entrepreneur, because courage is very important. You see, right? So you have to respect your gut brain here, my dear friends. And when it comes to entrepreneurship, who is an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is a person who is having burning desire. Right, to solve problems in the society at a profit. Entrepreneur is the one who has burning desire to solve the problems in the society at a profit. That's an entrepreneur. It's said by Napoleon Hill when he wrote Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill was a poor person and he wanted to become rich. He went to Henry Ford and asked how to become rich. Ford taught him all the things he knew. He went back, tried, failed again. But Napoleon Hill never gave up. He again came back to Ford and asked, Sir, is there anything that is considered to be a secret where you didn't share with me? Then Ford said, no, I shared everything I know. And he introduced now the hundreds of thousands of very rich entrepreneurs in Europe and America to Napoleon Hill. So Napoleon Hill interviewed them for 25 years. right? It's like actually 5 PhDs full time, and wrote and tried to become rich, still failed. Then he got an idea, creative idea, to write a book, Think and Grow Rich. Putting all his research together, and there in the preface he put, there is a secret in here. You have to read this book at least 10 times to get that secret. So people can't go to the library and read it, they are compelled to buy it. As a result of that, that book became one of the best-selling books in the planet Earth, and Napoleon Hill became one of the biggest, richest entrepreneur on the planet Earth. Right? And in that book, I read that book more than 20 times. There are 2 secrets actually speaking. If you want to become a great entrepreneur and become rich, one of the things is actually you must have a burning desire. What? Burning desire to become rich. You must have a burning desire to be rich. You must have a burning desire to be an entrepreneur. That's one of the important things. So, if you really want to be an entrepreneur, you must have a burning desire to solve problem in the society at a profit. Right? It's very important. To do that, you must again have burning desire to solve problem with innovativeness and creativity, because otherwise your business cannot sustain, cannot compete in this difficult marketplace. You must love bringing out the creativity and innovativeness. That is your right part of your brain. So touch your right part of your brain and massage the right part of your brain. Take your right hand, touch your right part of the brain like this and massage it. Do a little massage of your right hand side of the brain, because it's important. If you don't bring out that creativity, you can't be a successful entrepreneur. So, and say thank you to your right brain. I am so thankful to my right brain. Say it. I am so thankful to my right brain. Now onwards, my right brain is helping me to become more innovative, creative, to solve problems in the society and the marketplace at a profit. I love my right brain. Now onwards, I am becoming more and more creative. As such, I can create more and more innovative product and services to the marketplace that many customers are willing to buy my products and services. With that, I'm going to be rich. I love that. I'm going to solve society's problem. It's a great help to the society. I love that. I love my right brain. I love my right brain. Amazing. And my dear friends, when it comes to your left brain will help you to think analytically and critically and logically. That's your left part of your brain. That's again very important, because these 2 brains must be together to make sure that you are going to deliver solution to the problems in the society, marketplace, and that's how you are going to be an entrepreneur. Got my point? And if you can solve problems in the society, people will buy your product and services, because people are suffering with some of these problems, and if you can give something out to the marketplace at a reasonable price, they are waiting to buy your product or service. That's important. So you have to use your analytically left brain, my dear friends. Albert Einstein was kept out of the class saying that you are a fool by the teachers. What did Einstein do? Einstein went out of the class and thanked his brain 1,000 times. After 10-15 years, Einstein was able to prove that he has the most finest brain on the planet Earth. So when you start thanking the brain, a magic will happen. I'm a trainer and coach, and I have trained over 500,000 people on the planet. This is, I'm more focusing to actually train and coach in the IT industry and export industry. Why? Because I must try my best to help my mother Lanka. In this point, there is no point of blaming the people who caused this, but rather we have to try our best to at least bring $1 single to our country. To do that, I stopped using my Mercedes Benz. Instead, I'm using public transportation or small vehicle to come here and my training places which will consume less petrol. I'm not feeling to use my Benz because it consumes more petrol. Even though I have money to put petrol, even though I have a driver to go to the filling stations, I'm not feeling to do it because I love my country, my dear friends. We have to help our country whatever the ways that we can. And that is helping mindset. That's again very important for an entrepreneur. So I use mostly public transport. It's not very easy, but still I use it. Or I sometimes walk. Or I sometimes use small vehicles on the road to come here, which consumes less petrol. And in addition to that, as an engineer, as a motivational and leadership trainer, what I do is actually I'm more focusing on the IT industry and the industry which brings dollars. What I do is I know that IT industry is having brilliant people, brilliant software engineers, but they lack things such as customer centricity. They lack things such as business development skills. They lack sometimes management and leadership skills. So even though they are very good left brain meters, engineers, they are not utilizing their fullest potential because of the lack of some of these managerial and leadership skills. So as a coach, what I do is I go to IT companies and enhance their capacities so that they can double their business, which means they can double the dollar income, which means we can bring more and more dollars to Sri Lanka. That's how I'm trying my best to help my country. Similarly, I go to apparel companies and export-oriented companies and make sure that their productivity goes up, and as a result of that, they can get more orders, and as a result of that, as a country, we can be at least having some sort of dollars to survive in this difficult moment. So you must have helping mindset. So if you really, really want to be an entrepreneur, your heart must be having so much of helping mindset. That's very important. Your heart brain matters a lot. That's your helping mindset, right? And when I went to one of these IT company, I just asked, is there anybody who thanked the brain? Out of the 50 IT engineers, 3 said, we thank our brain. Is there anybody here who thank your brain? Okay. Then I asked, is there anybody who thank your brain daily? There was an engineer. Then I asked, is there anybody who thank your brain hourly? The same engineer says, I do it. Then I asked, is there anybody who thank your brain once in every 10 minutes? He said, I do. And then the CEO of that company, a professor, just got up and said, Dr. Ranil, thank you very much. I was surprised how this man is performing. Even though I am the CEO, he's earning 2 times me. His salary is 2 times my salary. It's more or less close to $25,000 per month in Sri Lanka. And why? Because he is capable of solving any complex problem, even in Europe or USA, and he receives all these complex problems and he sorted it out. And that's why he's such a brilliant engineer. So as an entrepreneur, you have to always thank your brain because you get lots of challenges every day. Unless you use your brain, my dear friends, you cannot survive. You cannot solve these challenges. And if you cannot solve these challenges, you feel like quitting as an entrepreneur. If you can understand what I say, please hands up. So you have to thank your brain. It's very, very important. You have to use your left side of your analytical brain as well as the right side of your creative brain at the same time to solve problems and to make sure that your entrepreneur journey is going to be successful. That's extremely important. So have a habit of thanking your brain at least once in an hour. Say, thank your brain and say, I love my brain. Do it. I love my brain. I know that my brain is going to help me to bring more dollars to our country. It will help me to drive my dream car, live my dream life, go around the world and employ so many people so that I can be proud of as an entrepreneur. I love my brain. ඒ වගේම මේ දක්වා මේ මොලෙන් වෙච්චි පොඩි පොඩි ගොංකම් මෝඩකම් ආයෙ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Today onwards, I'm working as an entrepreneur with my fullest intelligence, with my fullest brain, and I love my brain. And touch the brain of the neighbor around you and say, you have an amazing brain. Touch the brain of the person around you and say, you have an amazing brain. Do it, please. Please touch the brain and say, you have an amazing brain. Do it, my dear friends. You have to respect. Unless you respect the brains of your team members, you never ever get the support of them. You never ever get the brain of him or her. You know, I mean, if you have a team of 5 people, unless and until you respect the brains of these 5 people, you never ever get the fullest capacity of these 5 brains. If you can understand what I say, please hands up. So you have to respect the brains of the team members, my dear friends. And when you start respecting the brains of the team members, what happens is that you motivate them to give their best brains to your objective, your goals, your strategies as an entrepreneur, so that you will be able to achieve your dreams and goals. That's very, very important. That's extremely important. And I said, your heart brain is important. Unfortunately, sometimes our Sri Lankans' heart brains are filled with very, very bad things. Jealousy, frustration, competition, and ඔක්කොටම වඩා කුහකකම. මම ඕක ඉංග්‍රීසි වචනේ දන්නේ නැහැ. මං හිතන්නේ මේක තියෙන්නේ ලංකාවේ උන්ට විතරයි. එහෙනම් ඒකට ඉංග්‍රීසි වචනයක් නැහැ. Right? And if you go to Facebook even now, you can see that, I mean, many people, they are actually trying to achieve their political agendas, forgetting about the country. Right? And they are so kuhaka that they don't know that the entire ship is going to sink, and they're still waiting for that moment, forgetting that they are inside the ship, my dear friends. So when you have that kuhakakama, jealousy, frustration, negativity inside your heart, there is no space in the heart for you to dream. There is no space for you in your heart for you to dream. There is no space in your heart for you to understand the difficulties of the people in the society. Unless and until you understand the difficulties of the people in the society, you can't be an entrepreneur, because entrepreneur is one who solves the problems in the society. Entrepreneur is nothing else but one who solves the problems in the society, my dear friends. If you don't have a great heart brain to understand the difficulties of the people in the society, how can you become an entrepreneur? Right? And if your heart is filled with jealousy and frustration about successful entrepreneurs, you never ever can become successful. That's a reality. So you have to start appreciating successful entrepreneurs. අපි කරන්නේ successful entrepreneur කෙනෙක් හිටියොත් එයාගේ මොන හරි වැරදි තිත්තක් හොයාගෙන එක ලොකු කරගන්නවා. What we do is we are trying to find some faults at successful people and make that little fault a huge thing and talking about in the internet and Facebook and everywhere. And when you start doing that, what happens is that you are actually going away from the success. If you can understand what I say, please hands up. So what is the solution? My dear friends, the solution is nothing else. The solution is nothing else. The solution is metta, loving kindness. Lord Buddha talked about this. Jesus Christ talked about this. Muhammad Prophet talked about it. And Hindu religion is talking about it entirely. So you have to fill your heart with lots of metta, loving kindness, generosity, and good feelings and dreams. It's very important. Do you know why I sip some water? There's a reason. Because there is a link between your brain performance and your water intake. More the water you take, higher the brain performance. So as an entrepreneur, you have to sip water at least once in 10 minutes, little bit, so that it helps you to perform your brain. And when your brain is performing, what happens is that as an entrepreneur, you can actually thrive in your entrepreneurial journey. That's again very important. So Buddha says, have Maitri inside your heart. So take your right hand palm and touch your heart. And just follow me when I say it. Now onwards, my heart is going to be cleaned. Even little things, thin things such as jealousy, frustration, competition, kuhakakama is going to fade away from my heart. My heart is going to fill with lots of loving kindness, metta, generosity, very big dreams. I must have very big dreams for me. I must have very big dreams for my family. I must have very big dreams for my startup. I must have very big dreams for my country. And most importantly, I must have very big dreams for the entire world, the planet Earth, and the universe. I am having so much of love, kindness about all the Sri Lankans in every part of the country and all the world population. And today onwards, I am going to do something to make Sri Lankan happy. The people in the planet Earth is going to be happy. And I am going to be problem solver rather than being part of the problem. I love me. Yes, I can. Yes, I can achieve my dream. Yes, I can bring millions of dollars to Sri Lanka. Yes, I can be a great entrepreneur. Yes, I can be world class. I am going to do it. I love me. I love me. I love me. Let's go. Very big round of applause again. Very big round of applause, my dear friends. Right? It's very important. So that's how you should program your heart brain. Right? That's how you program your heart brain. When you do metta, what happens is, my dear friends, you know, when your heart brain is connected with metta and kindness and generosity and all these dreams, what happens is, your mind is linked to your heart. Scientists haven't found where your mind is yet. But according to Lord Buddha, 50% of your mind is around your heart and the blood circulatory system. And the remaining 50% is in the space. What happens? You go to bed with frustration. When you go to bed with frustration, what happens is, your mind feels like, so the entire mind will go out from you and check whether there is a good person to be enter into. And after a while, mind may feel like, no, my former boss is going to be an entrepreneur. She is going to bring some good things to the world. I must go back to her and help her to make this world a better place to live. And it comes back. You see my point? If you can understand what I say, please hands up. You know, and mind comes back. When you do metta, what happens is that, you know, our mind is connected to the minds of everyone, actually speaking, which we call infinite intelligence. Infinite intelligence. And a genius is the one who can tap the infinite intelligence. And one of the methods to tap the infinite intelligence is actually metta meditation, loving kindness, preached by not only Buddha, but by Jesus Christ, Muhammad Prophet, as well as Hindu religion, right? And everyone talked about this. So when you have metta, what happens is that your mind can actually easily connect to the infinite intelligence, or Vishwa, in other words, Maha Brahma, in other words, God, in other words, Almighty God, in other words, Allah. Whoever it is you call, right? You can connect to Him, and when you connect to Him, what happens is that all the knowledge, all the problems in you is there, and what happens is you can tap that knowledge. If you can tap that knowledge, what happens is that you can actually get that knowledge to planet Earth, and as a result of that, you can solve the problem. And when you solve the problem, what has happened is that you are going to be an entrepreneur. If you can understand what I say, please hands up. So when you have lots of metta here, you can easily become an entrepreneur. If you take Bill Gates, why he quit engineering? Not because he's lazy to follow engineering, not because he cannot follow engineering, but because he had a better vision of, you know, simplifying the computer software in such a way that humankind can be enhanced. That's his vision. to go to that vision, he quit engineering and became an entrepreneur. And he wanted to help the mankind by simplifying the computer, because those days the computers were only used by scientists and engineers. So Bill Gates quit engineering to help the mankind, and as a byproduct of that, he became a billionaire. As a byproduct of that, he became a billionaire. So as an entrepreneur, you should try to solve the problems in the society. As a byproduct of that, you will become a billionaire. Billionaire කෙනෙක් වෙනවා කියලා ප්‍රතිඥාවක් දීලා ලොකු පුඩියක් ගහන්න. Let's go, very big round of applause. Dream big, my dear friends. Dream big. Right? And people are asking what's the solution to the Sri Lanka's problem. There's very easy solution. If you can create actually another 100 entrepreneurs, such as, the founder of MA Soldin, that is Mahesh Amalin, kind of 100 people in different sectors such as IT, apparel, export of agriculture products, export of mineral, value-added mineral and all these things, Sri Lanka will be a really, really rich country. Very simple. But it will take little time. Right? It will take little time. And there is a solution, actually speaking, in the medium to long run, my dear friends. Right? So if you take Bill Gates, he was having lots of helping mindset here. If you take the Google founder or the owner of Google, see his helping mindset. If you want to find a location in Battaramulla, that's your own, very own town, you use your Google map, free of charge. Free of charge, the Google map will show you how to go to your destination. Right? That is the helping mindset that Google people were having. Similarly, if you take Mark Zuckerberg, he introduced Facebook to make sure that his busy friends are connected. A good intention. As a byproduct of that, he became a billionaire. So, have the good intention here. Don't take the money first. Take the solution first. Take the innovativeness first. Right? Take the thinking of giving a service first, and money will follow you. Money will follow you. That's again very important. So you must have very good heart where you have a very good helping mindset. That's extremely important. So to become an entrepreneur, you must have helping mindset, and you must have, innovative mindset and creative mindset where you can get it from tapping your right brain. How else you can get that creativity? In my case, I get creativity when I am sitting on the command in the morning. Is there anybody who is getting creativity when you are sitting on the command? Toilet. There is one gentleman here. Anybody? There's another lady here. Anybody? එතකොට command එක ගාව පොතක් සහ පෑනක් තියෙන්න ඕනි. When you have a book, is there anybody who is having book and a pen in close to your command? Unfortunately, no one. And unfortunately, you are killing billion-dollar ideas inside your bathroom without keeping a pen and a book. I keep a pen and a book in close to my command, where when I get ideas, I write them down. Right? And ideas never ever come in a usual formal meeting room. Ideas will never ever come in usual formal email chat. Ideas will come when you are sitting on the command, when you are having a bath. Hands up those who are getting ideas when you are having a bath. There is one lady in the back seat. That's amazing. So many people. That's amazing. Again, you have to keep a pen and a book in your bathroom. Right? Probably you can use the same book. And when I am having cup of tea, I get ideas. Soon after having, marriage life, intimacy, sex, I get ideas. Anybody who gets ideas at that point? No one, it's only me, unfortunately. But I love that, because the ideas that I get at that point is very creative. Because there is a link between sex and creativity. Most of the successful people on the planet all are highly sexual in nature. They have highly sex energy, including Lord Buddha, before he became the Buddha. Right? And they transmuted this sex energy into creative energies, my dear friends. So sex is very important. You should be able to convert your sex energy into creative energies. That's how successful entrepreneurs has emerged their successful businesses, actually speaking. That's how your out-of-the-box thinking is coming out, actually speaking. Right? It's a very important energy. It's extremely important energy to use and utilize to become a great entrepreneur, right? And my dear friends, you have to program your heart with a vision board. Hands up those who are having vision board. Yeah, a couple of guys. You can draw all your dreams in one sheet and make sure that that is visible to you all the time. And when you see the vision board, you become focused. You know that you want to buy make sure that you want to bring $100 million in the year 2025. You know that by that time you are driving a Mercedes-Benz S-Class. You know that by that time you have visited at least 50 countries in the planet Earth. You know that you have given employment to 1,000 people. So likewise, you have to draw a vision board explaining what you want in next 5 years or 10 years. Then you become focused and your energy can be concentrated and you become motivated. When you are down, you can come back, bounce back, because you know that you are going to bring this much of dollars to your country and you are going to give this much of employment to your 100 or 1,000 families, and you are going to live this type of life. So vision board, if you can draw the things in one single sheet, it becomes vision board, and when you draw it, what happens is you become focused and your heart brain is programmed with that dream, so that you start focusing your very own dreams, my dear friends. So today, when you soon after going home, take a piece of paper, draw your dreams, and make sure that you start meditating on it every day, and it will going to be happen. And that's part of the law of attraction as well. And in a way, it's mind program as well as programming your heart brain, my dear friends. That's extremely important, right? Because your goals must be converted, your dreams must be converted to goals, and your goals must be actually backed with strategies, and these strategies must be backed with plans, and these plans must be backed with operational plans, and these operational plans must be backed with resources, and these resources must be backed with motivation, inspiration, energy, and all these things, so that each and everyone in your team is moving towards that. Actually speaking, that's extremely important. And for you to become an entrepreneur, you must have the talent of working with others, other people and the partners. If you are isolated and if you don't want to deal with others, if you don't want to collaborate with others, if you don't want to share with others, you cannot be an entrepreneur. Even if you take Bill Gates, he's very good at marketing. He's not a very good programmer, and he has a partner who's a very good programmer, right? It's like Bhatia and Santosh. If you take Bhatia and Santosh, I think because they got together, it became BS, Bhatia and Santosh. Got it? And then Bhatia brings one set of skills and one set of attraction, and Santosh brings different set of skills and different set of attraction. When Bhatia and Santosh get together, it becomes synergy. 1 + 1 is greater than 2. Usually 1 + 1 is 2, but the synergy is 1 + 1 is greater than 2. Or 1 + 1 can be 3, 1 + 1 can be 5, 1 + 1 can be 10, 1 + 1 can be 100, 1 + 1 can be million, 1 + 1 can be billion, 1 + 1 can be trillion. So you should be able to synergize. Synergize with the I mean, Sri Lankans, when it comes to our Sri Lankans, sometimes when you try to synergize, you try to get the entire mas kilo ekam apේ පැත්තට ගන්නවා. අරයට මොනවත් නැහැ. It is not win-win, it's win-lose. These are not sustainable. You have to have win-win synergy. So you must have the keenness to have win-win synergy, to make sure that you synergize with young people, talented people, qualified people, experienced people, matured people, old people, very young people, female, men, Sri Lankans, outside countries, down south people, north people, east people, west people. Then it become real nice, combination, my dear friends. So synergy is very important. You should be able to work with people. You should be able to tap the brains of the people. You should be able to tap the heart of the people. You should be able to tap the skills of the people. You should be able to get the maximum from people. And you should be able to motivate them by giving them whatever they want. So as a team, you can actually perform, right? That's again very important. And you can prepare your cake. That's a small cake. And 100% of that small cake is yours. But if you can synergize with a financial partner, probably a technical partner, technological partner, IT partner, marketing partner, or any other expertise, the cake can be very big, actually speaking. And you have only portion of that, but that little portion is bigger than the full cake that you develop individually. If you can understand what I say, please hands up. Right? So synergization is very important. You should be able to work with people. That's again very important. And going beyond that, my dear friends, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to exceed the expectation of the customer. Right? What is the world's best CEO ever lived on the planet Earth? What is the name of the world's best CEO who's ever lived on the planet Earth? He's a chemical engineer called Jack Welch, the CEO of General Electric. Right? He turned around General Electric so many times, and later he wrote a book called Winning. And you must read the book Winning. It's a small book. And in the Winning book, Bill Gates says, if you read only one book in your life to learn management and business, read Winning. And Warren Buffett says, this is a good book from his college graduates to CEOs. So in this Winning book, Jack Welch says, there is only one way to have a sustainable growth. That is exceeding the expectation of the customer. You have to give value. Customer රැවට්ටුවත් කවදාවත් ගොඩ යන්නේ නැහැ. Take our three-wheel society, poor fellows. During this, crisis, some of them were misbehaving, some of them were cheating, some of them were very respectful. නවත්ත ගන්න බෑ අත දැම්මත් දෙවියන්ගේ වාහනේ නවත්ත ගන්න පුළුවන් three-wheelක් නවත්තන්න බෑ. නැවත්තුවත් මීටර් 200ක් යන්න ඉල්ලන රුපියල් 1000ක්. Now what happens? They earn short-term money. Now what happens? Now nobody wants to go in three-wheelers because they're so expensive and people are angry with them. And now people walk and they use public transport as much as possible rather than taking a tuk-tuk, actually speaking. Poor fellows, unfortunately. But they were having short-sightedness, narrow thinking. And they were not broadly thinking. They were not sustainable enough. They were not understanding the customer, actually speaking. So you should not focus on short-term huge thumping profit. Rather than you should focus on sustainable profitability, my dear friends. And you should be focusing on sustainability with respect to finance, socio-economic, as well as environmental sense, so that you can get the blessing from the universe. You have to consider all these things. It's very, very important. Blessings is important, my dear friends. Right? And when it comes to a gut brain, a stomach brain, it's usually programmed with the experience. I was a senior manager in a leading multinational company. I was chosen as the world's best project manager in 2005. They chosen 4 project managers in the world to become world's best project manager. I was one of them. They highlighted me in 2005, their global annual report, as Ranil Sugathadasa as one of the emergent person in the global wholesome group, actually speaking. That's in 2005. In 2007, I had to leave the company because of the company politics. I was like 10 times paid than my batchmate civil engineers. I was in the peak of the success. All of a sudden, I was fallen to the ground. I was clueless what to do. I was just about to make the next level. And I was about to get a salary of 1 million in 2007. I was about to have 2-3 jeeps. I was about to have so many foreign trips. I missed all these things. I was boarded or having a rented house in London place. I came there. I cried so much. With that cry, I just took a pen and a paper and drew all the things I missed. I missed an amazing jeep. I drew it. I missed so many foreign travels. I missed it. I missed 1 million Sri Lankan rupees salary. I drew it. I drew all the things. Then I was asking myself, should I do a job again? Should I do a job again? Mine says, no, Ranil, because of that pathetic experience. And my dear friends, there was a point where I didn't have money to even pump petrol to my car. I was trying to be an entrepreneur and nobody accepted me. I formed 2 companies. I couldn't get any business. To be very frank with you, my revenue was 0 Sri Lankan rupees for an entire year for both the companies. And I was about to get married. My girlfriend was pushing me to get a job. And secretly she was applying on behalf of me. And my parents are pushing me to get a job. And unfortunately, I got selected to one of these Australian companies as a country manager in Sri Lanka. And I was ironing my shirt. And I was asking myself, should I get that job or try in my best? While ironing my shirt to get that appointment letter. When I was ironing that letter, my shirt to get that appointment letter, I was asking that question. And my heart said, and my gut said, And my brain said, don't get that job. It is about to pay me about 800,000. But my heart, guts, as well as brain said, don't get that job. So I didn't go to get that job. And my girlfriend got pissed off with me. My parents got pissed off with me. And they gave me a deadline. Ranil, you have to be successful within 3 months. And how can I do it? I start thinking differently. I start learning from the mistake I have done. And within 3 months, I was able to earn 60,000 Sri Lankan rupees. I got a one training, actually speaking. 1 day training. And the next 4th month from that point, I got 3 trainings. I earned 180,000. From the 6th month, I got 6 training per month, 360,000. And then I enhanced my price to 100,000. In the next month, I got 8 trainings and my income became 800,000. And after 2 months, I got around 20 trainings at a rate of 120,000 and my income increased, actually speaking. Right? So when you try to become an entrepreneur, there will be a point where you feel quitting. And your parents will push you to quit entrepreneurship. Your girlfriend, your wife, your husband will push you to do a job. What is this? Right? If you can understand what I say, please hands up. It's not very easy. And then I moved into other sectors such as engineering, consultancy, foreign direct investments, infrastructure, energy and all these things. And I was trying to help our country by bringing some foreign direct investments. I was working with some party in Dubai and USA and to do some huge infrastructure project in Sri Lanka. I spent nearly about 25 lakhs from my end to do all these things. And it's a $4 billion investment. And the investors just promised me that they are coming in the next week. I was very happy because I'm going to be 10% of that. $400 million in next week. My wealth will be $400 million by the next week, right? I was very happy. I was dreaming very big to help our country. And I was dreaming very big about myself. But in the last minute, they told me, dear Ranil, we decided not to go ahead with Sri Lanka. We cannot have 100% faith about the system in Sri Lanka. We are sure about you. We are faithful about you. But we are not 100% faithful about the system in Sri Lanka. And they withdraw that journey, my dear friends. At that night, can you imagine what did I feel? Frustrated. Lost. Because I was about to become $400 million. Can you imagine what did I feel at that night? Sorry? Sorry? Angry? Sorry? Disappointed? Encouraged? Actually speaking, I felt very neutral. That's a skill set that you have to have. When you try to be an entrepreneur, there are good things that's going to happen. Again, you have to be neutral. You can't be overjoyed. There are bad things that's going to happen. Again, you have to be neutral. That is actually the mind training that you have to have. Entrepreneur must be having a mindset to face joy, success neutrally, as well as failures, frustrations neutrally. If you can understand what I say, please hands up. There's a funny story. There was a guy, he was having some horses. All of a sudden, one of his horse, most powerful horse, went to the jungle. And villagers came and said, you are so unlucky that your most powerful horse went to the jungle. He said, we'll see. We'll see. He was having an open mindset. And after 2 weeks, that horse bought another 20 horses and came back to him from the jungle. Now, villagers said and came and said, you are so lucky. He was not very happy. He said, we'll see. We'll see. Then, after 3-4 months, his only son was riding a horse and fallen and missed one of his finger. And then villagers came and said, you are so unlucky. Your son is now not a full man. Then the man said, we'll see. Then the war came and all the youths, teenagers in the town were taken to the army. And he was not taken because he was not having a finger. And most of them were killed in the war. And his son survived. So, even in this country situation, we have to see it neutrally. මේක හොඳ බලන්නත් එපා නරක බලන්නත් මේක දිහා neutrally බලාගෙන ඉන්න. As an entrepreneur, you must be able to see a problem neutrally so that you can analyze it much better than emotionally. If you become very emotional, you become tanha, ලොකු තණ්හාවක් ආගම ඔක්කොම ඉවරයි. තණ්හායි ජායති සෝකෝ. තණ්හාව ශෝකය ඇති කරනවා. Unnecessary amount of greediness will create sadness. You must dream without greediness. You must be having burning desire without greediness. There's a thin layer between burning desire and greediness. Very thin layer. You must be skillful enough to understand that thin layer and not to come to this side, that greediness side. You must have burning desire, but greediness will create you stress, frustration, and many other things, my dear friends. Okay, let's for a while stand for a while. Stand for a while, right? And let's stand for a while. And move your hands like this. And say, and move your hip clockwise. Move your hip clockwise. Move your hip clockwise. And say, I love me. I love me. Now I am feeling like my stomach brain is going to be more and more activated. I'm going to be a great entrepreneur. I'm going to be more and more happier, successful. And now onwards, my stomach brain is getting more and more confidence and the guts. Move hip the other way, right? And say, I love me. Now onwards, my stomach brain is being massaged. I love me. I'm going to be a great entrepreneur. I love me. I love me. I love me. Let's go very big crowd applause again. Superb, right? Right. Take seats, my dear friends. And this is actually reprogramming technique for your stomach brain. For you to get that confidence of being a great entrepreneur, you have to spend some years. That's the usual path. But if you can actually reprogram your brain, if you can reprogram your brain every morning, doing this for 5 minutes, close in your room, that will actually help you to get that brain and gut part done for you to become confident in decision making, confident in dealing with people, confident in partnerships, and that will actually help you to have a great way ahead, my dear friends. So I taught you to couple of ways to reprogram your brains: head brain, heart brain, gut brain, and the mind actually speaking. And now I'm going to share you a very important habit. I did BSc in Civil Engineering from Moratuwa University, MSc in Concrete and Cement Engineering again from Moratuwa University, MBA from Colombo. I did my PhD from Moratuwa University with the supervision from Australian University in Construction, Supply Chain Risk Management. And while doing all these things, I did CIMA, I did CIM, I did law, and I am part qualified in CFA as well. But in my life, I learned the best lesson not from the professors, but from my very own elder son, Umet, 7 years back, when he was just 4 years. 7 years back, I got my first banking training from one of the leading banks in Sri Lanka. Today I'm working in all the sectors, including banking, finance, services, telecommunication, logistics, startup, education, health and care, and all the industries. So I devoted myself to get the presentation done. And I have a great wife. I love her. But she has a problem. I think she's world's #1 in finding faults of others, especially faults of me. By profession, she's a chartered accountant. I think her training, audit trainer has done an amazing job. Let's go very big clap to her audit trainer. Very big clap, right? And early part of my marriage, I was feeling, what is this? I was the best student in the class. Teachers admire me all the time. In the university, I was one of the best students in the batch, and lecturers admired me. In the corporate sector, I was one of the best managers. Everybody admired me. And soon after the marriage, there is no admiration, only the blames. If you can understand my feeling at that point, please hands up. how poor Ranil was at that point. And if you can actually add the talent of finding mistakes of each and every girl here, lady here, plus each and every wife of each and every gentleman here, and multiply all these things by billion, that is my wife. But after some times I decided that I must make use of this. That is entrepreneurial thinking. I decided to make use of that. I decided to make use of her talent for my benefit, for our benefit. Got my point? So that's how you consciously make decisions rather than being emotional here. That's how you use your left brain and right side of your creative brain to make right decisions. And I decided to show my presentation to her. The very same day she was working at Holcim as an operations finance manager. She came home with lots of tiredness. I gave my presentation. Within 5 minutes, she found 101 errors. But she was so good that she corrected all these things. She was a very good wife. And I was so happy. And my elder son just realized it, and he realized that there is something great in the computer. So he just approached me saying, Tati chuttak, a little bit. You want to come to my lab and see what's happening in my computer. At the very same point, I got the SMS from Chief Operating Officer of that bank, and I was just replying that. Within that couple of seconds, the son who approached me, Tati chuttak a little bit, has entirely deleted my presentation in such a way that it's not even available in the recycle bin, my dear friends. I don't know what keys he has pressed. And my blood became water. And I was having so many stars inside my head. At the same time, I'm seeing the natural stars also outside. And then my face became square. And my wife asked, why you are upset? I said, the son has deleted it. තාත්තයි පුතයි සෙට් උදක් ඔහොමම තමයි කියලා පැය භාගයක් අපි දෙන පළු යන්න කෑවා මිත්‍රරුනි. එහෙම කාලා තියෙන කට්ටිය අත උස්සන්න බලන wife ගෙන්. Amazing. Very genuine gentleman here, right? එහෙම කන්න දීලා තියෙන කට්ටිය අත උස්සන්න බලන්න. කන්න දීලා තියෙන කට්ටිය. I think nobody is married here. marry කලාට පස්සේ දෙවි කන්න. One has given it, right? Amazing. And we were very intelligent at that point. ප්‍රඥාවන්ත වෙන්න ඕනි. We were like kittens. කට හොල්ල නැතු මෙන්න මේ පූසු දෙනෙක් වගේ හිටියා. We were like two kittens. And after half an hour, I'm sure my wife got pains in the mouth. She stopped blasting. බැරි වෙලා හරි තව වචනයක් හරි කිව්වනම් තව කනවද නැද්ද? තව පැයක් අනිවාර්යෙන් කනවා. So as an entrepreneur, you should be able to face letdowns, frustrations, right? නින්දා අපහාස විඳින්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනි. දුක නැතුව, මැදහත්ව. That's a skill, my dear friend. අටලෝ දහමට මුහුද දෙන්න පුළුවන්කම තියෙන්න ඕනි. අධික ප්‍රීතියකුත් නැතුව, අධික දුකකුත් නැතුව. That's a skill, my dear friend. And what happens? I just kept my fingers like this. I did my first job in Singapore, a Japanese company called Toa Corporation. At that point, Singapore was just 610 square kilometers, whereas Sri Lanka was 65,610. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew wanted to enhance Singapore by 150 square kilometers. And he invited Japanese company, a German company, and Sri Lankan engineers. Why? Because Sri Lankan people have helped Lee Kuan Yew to develop Singapore from 1962 up to date, actually speaking. So soon after passing out, I just went to Singapore without a job, and the following day I found a job in that amazing project. My task was to calculate the sand volume, and it usually take about 6 hours, my dear friends. I found a shortcut where I could do it in 5 minutes. Lanka මිනිසු කියන්නේ shortcut හොයන්න අති දක්ෂයෝ. That's why we can't implement any system here. Whatever the system we introduce, we find a shortcut. Sri Lankans are famous for 3 things. They are very smart. They are extremely selfish. And they don't love their country. Rather, they love their political party. As such, Sri Lanka has become this level, actually speaking. So, in the pre-time, Singapore management gave me a chance to do whatever I want. So I put an advertisement in the newspaper. If you want to become beautiful, come to me. I'm a Sri Lankan engineer. Oh my God. I put only one advertisement. 110 Singapore ladies came to see me to become beautiful. I now don't know what to do. Entrepreneurs are initiative. You see my point? So I was initiative. And I wanted them to sit on the ground and keep their eyes closed so that I can see their beauty. If you can understand the thrill I got, please hands up, And what I did was, actually speaking, I wanted them to do some yoga exercises, keeping these two fingers together, so that within a month I was able to actually transform their faces to the next level faces. If you can do some meditation, breathing, and if you can clean your heart, you become beautiful. Your skin become more attractive and glory. It's very, very important. So, when I practice yoga, I keep these two fingers together. Buddha is sometimes like this. When you see some gods like Sumanasama and Kataragama, they keep like fingers like this. And scientists have realized that if you have a stress, keep these two fingers together. So I was keeping these two fingers together like this. I was thinking what to do in the following day. I was thinking like that. Because I was like this. But what happens when you keep these two fingers? When you can keep these two fingers and have 3 deep breaths, there is an amazing thing going to happen. When you keep these two fingers, what happens is your mind can be connected to the infinite intelligence or universal intelligence or Mahabrahma or God or whatever you call it. And you can tap the knowledge. And when you take 3 deep breaths, what happens? When you are stressed, what happens is your neurons in your brain is structured or wired in a certain pattern. But when you take 3 deep breaths, what happens is that your neuron pattern will be changed, unwired, and there will be new neuron patterns. Connectivity, there will be new wiring, and with that new wiring, you don't feel that as a problem, you feel that as a challenge and opportunity. So I start thinking that losing my presentation is as a challenge and opportunity rather than a problem. I went to that bank following day, I told them the story. Keep your hands like this. Keep your hand like this and follow me. Chutak yanne godak lesi. Habai chutak yanne godak balawat. When you say godak balawat, you have to move your hand like this. Chutak yanne godak lesi. Habai chutak yanne godak balawat. Little bit is extremely easy. However, little bit easy, extremely powerful. My dear friends, I told this story to them. I told the message. I wanted them to practice whatever they do, the good practices, tava chuta better, a little bit better. I wanted them to dress tava chuta nicer, an attractive way. As an entrepreneur, you should dress the maximum that you can. Your dress is important. When you dress nice and attractively, you actually pass some energy to your team members. If you can understand what I say, please hands up. You must dress attractively as possible. You must, you must have your, eyebrows done and the hair done attractively so that you look like an entrepreneur. Got it? That's important. So you have to find how chutak I must improve my face, my eyebrows, my haircut, my dress. That's part of your entrepreneurial journey, my dear friends. You should look like an entrepreneur. It's important, right? Right, it's very, very important. And I wanted them to tap their brains, tava chutak, use their brain, tava chutak a little bit. I want them to plan, tava chutak a little bit. I wanted them to organize, tava chutak a little bit. I wanted them to do some teamwork, tava chutak a little bit. I wanted them to organize, tava chutak a little bit. I wanted them to understand the customer, tava chutak a little bit. I wanted them to deliver the services to customers, to exceed the expectation of the customer, tava chutak a little bit. And I wanted them to keep the bank premises more and more beautiful, tava chutak a little bit. And ultimately, I got an amazing results. And after 3 months, I was able to transform that each branch of that bank in each and every town as the best branch to come actually speaking. So as an entrepreneur, you have to take this as a habit. I'm a cement and concrete expert. To become a cement and concrete expert, I nearly ate cement in a laboratory at Moratuwa University. Mata cementi kavilat tiyanama. Got my point? And when it comes to concrete, we do a concrete by mixing cement, sand and aggregate and water together. And concrete will become its maximum strength in 28 days. 28 days. And moon cycle is 28 days. The periodic cycle of a woman is 28 days. And scientists have found that if you can do something by force for continuously 28 days, it will become a habit. It will become a habit. So as an entrepreneur, you must acquire success habits. You must copy successful entrepreneurs. Not their product or services, but their skill set, their mindset. You should not copy the product and services of successful entrepreneurs. But you can always copy the mindset of successful entrepreneurs. You can always copy the skill set of successful entrepreneurs. You can always copy the leadership of successful entrepreneurs. And that's very, very important, my dear friends. And you can get any good habits within 28 days. What you need, you have to practice it continuously for 28 days. And from the 29th day, it's going to be a habit, actually speaking. So Chuttak can be applied everywhere, my dear friends. So when you do a product or service, bring tava Chuttak creativity, a little bit of creativity to your product or service. Check your product or service in the angle of customer, how they perceive it, what they like in it, how to improve the product or service so that customer is really, really keen to buy it. How to market your product or service tava Chuttak better in such a way that customer will feel like buying it. How to make it a global brand, what you should do, whom with you are going to partner with. Think that Chuttak, my dear friends. 1 to the power 365 is 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied, likewise 1 is equal to 1. If you can add 0.1 into 1, it becomes 1.01. 1.01 to the power 365 is 1.01 multiplied by 1.01 multiplied by 1.01 multiplied by 1.01 multiplied by 1.01, that is 37.8. 1 to the power 365 is 1. 1.01 to the power 365 is 37.8. එකේ 360 පස්වෙනි බලය එකයි 1.01 360 පස්වෙනි බලය කියන්නේ 37.8යි. That's the power of Chuttak. ඔබ එකට චූට්ටක් එකතු කළාම 0.01ක් ඒක දවස් 365ක් ප්‍රැක්ටිස් කළාම ඔබ අද වගේ 37 ගුණයක් දක්ෂ වෙනවා. If you can start today, my dear friends, and try to start your entrepreneurial journey by strengthening your mindset tava Chuttak a little bit every day, strengthening your leadership skills tava Chuttak every day, strengthening your management skills tava Chuttak every day, strengthening your usage of left brain tava Chuttak every day, strengthening your usage of your right brain tava Chuttak every day, cleaning your heart brain tava Chuttak every day, and leveraging your network tava Chuttak every day, and making right decision tava Chuttak every day, and having a system to produce a product or system tava Chuttak every day, my dear friends. For 365 days, you can bring your entrepreneurship planet from today 37 times better than what you are today. If you can understand what I say, please hands up. So that's the power of Chuttak. So I want you to make sure that Chuttak is part of your habit. You should try to save your cost tava Chuttak in your product or service. You should try to improve your profit tava Chuttak by optimizing your cost structure. You should try to attract your product to your customer tava Chuttak better by right packaging, right marketing, right product mix or something like that. You should try your best tava Chuttak to bring right partnership, right people, right team member to your company. And that's extremely important, my dear friends. And that Chuttak will make sure that your company is going to go to the next level, and the next level, and next level. May I ask you to rise again for a while, my dear friends, right? And my time is going to over next 10 minutes. Just move your hands like this so that you are not going to make any accidents with people or furniture around. Just arrange yourself so that you are not going to meet any accident with others. Move your hands and then position yourself such that you are not going to make any accidents. Fix your leg to the ground. Keep your hand like this, right? And now when I say 1, 2, 3, you have to move clockwise, but when you do it, don't distort your neck, backbone, right? But the clockwise karaken don't have a clockwise karakeddi, bella panna ganda bෑ, konda panna ganda bෑ. Got my point? Amazing. Get ready. When I say 1, 2, 3, you have to turn clockwise and try to see the maximum point that you can see, right? Get ready. 1, 2, 3. Try to see the maximum point. Anipatra, 1, 2, 3. Try to see the maximum point. Come back to normal. අද්දක පාත් දාන්න. කකුල් දෙක කොහොමද තියාින්න. Now you have seen 2 points. Those are the 2 maximum points that you can see. Agree or disagree? Agree. You have seen the 2 maximum points that you can see from your eyes without distorting your neck and backbone. Now, අපි ලොකු අප්පුඩි පළක් ගහමු. courage එකක් එක අදිෂ්ඨානයක් එක dream එකක් we are going to go beyond that තව චුට්ටක් කියලා ලොකුවක් පිටිපලක් ගහමු ලොකුවක් පිටිපලක් තව higher amazing right now keep your hands like this and when I say 1 2 3 max you have to go beyond what you have seen but you can't violate your law the rule and you can't have any health problem right get ready my dear friends 1 2 3 max Anipatra 1 2 3 max amazing let's go very big round of applause right did you go beyond what you seen previously yes or no did you go beyond yes අපි හිතා හිටියේ බලන්න පුළුවන් උපරිම තුර දැක්කා කියලා. තව චූට්ටක් බලන්න පුළුවන්ද බැරිද? අපි හිතා ඉන්නවා අපේ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එක සම්පූර්ණයි කියලා. තව චූට්ටක් ඉම්ප්‍රූව් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද බැරිද? අපි හිතා ඉන්නවා අපේ බිස්නස් එක සර්ව සම්පූර්ණයි කියලා. තව චූට්ටක් දක්ෂයෙක් අපේ ඩිරෙක්ටර් බෝඩ් එකට ගන්න පුළුවන්ද බැරිද? අපි හිතා ඉන්නවා අපේ ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකේ ටෙක්නොලොජි උපරිම පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙනවා කියලා. තව චූට්ටක් ටෙක්නොලොජි මේකට ගේන්න පුළුවන්ද? It's possible my dear friends. We are thinking that we are using the maximum we are having a great product but we can improve that product a little bit better. කොඤ්ඤම් තව චූට්ටක්. We can bring more and more technology there. We can bring more and more talented people there. We can bring more and more partnership there. We can bring more and more marketing there. We can bring more and more talents there. We can bring more and more cost-cutting strategies there. We can bring more and more globalized things there. We can do more and more synergization there. And that's the success, my dear friends. Let's go very big round of applause again. Bigger one! I want a bigger one! Amazing. Take seats, my dear friends. So today, we discuss few points. Right? Entrepreneur is who is really keen to help the problems in the society at a profit. There you have to be customer oriented, customer focused. And there you have to connect with other people, get the support of the brains of others and the hearts of others. You have to always think win-win, act win-win. And you should be able to take risks. And you will come across failures, frustrations, letdowns. You should be able to face them with understanding the Atalo Dhamma. Right? And you have to think very big to help yourself, help your family, help your company, and help your country. And going beyond that, you have to think about helping your planet Earth and the entire world. And then that's how you are going to be a global player, actually speaking. Right? And you have to take initiativeness. And that must be one step, a baby step. Today, one baby step today, another baby step tomorrow. Chutta you can go, actually speaking, until the dream. And don't forget that 1 to the power 365 is 1. If you can improve 0.01 every day, you become 37.8. So learning must be part of your entrepreneurial journey. Probably you are an engineer who doesn't know anything about finance or marketing. But once you become if you really want to be an entrepreneur, you have to start learning marketing, finance, operations, project management, engineering, technology and everything. Right? Learning is very important. And you must always think about the sustainability. You must always think about your people in your team. You must encourage them, help them, always work win-win, and always have a very good heart. Do metta, meditation, loving kindness every day, every night, about your team, about your customers, the entire community in the country and the planet Earth, so that you can get the fullest blessing from everyone, my dear friends. And I'm really happy to be here with these budding entrepreneurs, and I'm sure some of you are already a great entrepreneurs as well. And please keep in touch with me on the LinkedIn. I'm Ranil Sugathadasa. And my telephone number is 777 224 038. 777 224 038. 777 224 038. And my Facebook is Ranil Sugathadasa. You can connect me my public figure because the other one is not having spaces to take you. And I know that one day soon you can start bringing some dollars, my dear friends. I would like to conclude with my last session with the inauguration of engineering faculty where I teach at. I told my engineering students who just joined the campus, try to bring at least $1 every day. How? They can sell mathematics to other countries, tuition. They can sell physics to other countries. They can sell chemistry to other countries. They can sell little IT programs to other countries. And they start practicing it. So, from the day one, the engineering faculty student at Moratuwa who came here, right, who came to our university, became entrepreneurs by bringing at least $1 to our country, by doing something. By doing something. So don't think about the number, size of the number. Try to bring first $1, then $2, then $5, then $10, then $20, then $100, then $1,000, then $10,000, then $100,000, then $1 million, then $10 million, then $1 billion. Start with $1. If you can understand what I say, please hands up. So ඔබගේ entrepreneur journey එක මොකක් වුණත් අද මොනා හරි විකුණලා ඉන්දියාවට හරි විකුණලා මොනා හරි දෙයක් විකුණලා $1 එකක් ගේන්න. And that motivates you to bring $2 tomorrow. And sometimes you might change your entire entrepreneurial directions, entire new area. From whatever you planned up to now is going to be faded away, and you think entire new area, and you will become successful by the next year. And probably next year, he will invite you to do this session instead of Ranil Sugathadasa, because you are going to be more successful than me actually speaking. And I'm waiting for that moment. Thank you very much, my dear friends. All the very best. I love you all, and all the very best.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Dr. Ranil Sugathadasa. You are really, as usual, I mean, you are one of the greatest inspiration and really the motivation we all have. Thank you so much for your great session. Actually, it's a wonderful and phenomenal inspiration for our young entrepreneurs. And I need to emphasize at this very moment that Dr. Ranil Sugathadasa is, he's just volunteering without any payment, and and his commitment is enormous. And without any payment, he is conveying his service in the best possible manner for the young entrepreneurs, and which is actually the present and future of our nation. And as he said, and we're gonna win, and definitely we're gonna rebuild our nation. Thank you so much once again, Dr. Ranil, for your greatest commitment ever. Thanks a lot once again. And also we have a token of appreciation, and in order to present the token of appreciation, I would like to invite Mr. Kirti once again, Senior Vice President, FCCISL, and also Mr. Juan De Silva, our Director, FCCISL. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Dr. Ranil, once again, thanks a lot, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Keep in touch. Sure. Now, moving on to the next session, to save our time. So we're going to have a very special session now conducted by Mr. Deepal Sooriyaarachchi. He's a management consultant, author, accredited master coach, and mentor, of course. And he is the former managing director of AVIVA NTB Insurance, and also he's also the former commissioner Sri Lanka Inventors Commission. He's, ladies and gentlemen, he's gonna focus on VUCA times. It's amazingly important because it's actually, we are facing VUCA time, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. We all are facing, and I'm pretty sure you will be able to get a deeper meaning and understanding how we gonna overcome this situation very sooner rather than later. Mr. Deepal, the floor is yours.
Good morning. All right, okay. Little bit late then. Once again, thank you for inviting me, and it's wonderful to see such a group of young entrepreneurs. As everyone said, you are the only hope, right? And we haven't given up yet. And as Keith mentioned, I also come from that special edition generation. I was born in 1960, and in that century I could live only 40 years. And this century, however much I try, I will not exceed 40. So we are a special edition people. We started writing on the Gallal, and now we use iPads. We have tried everything primitive, and you're also trying some of them now. He was talking about chuttak improving. I just want you to do something now. Find somebody that you don't know and exchange your business card or something and just ask what business you are in right now, 2 minutes. Right? If you are sitting with the same person that you know, then you are not going to get business. Right? Find somebody here. Right? And if you don't know, exchange your business card or shake your hand and say, this is my business. මේකපට මෙහාට ගත්තොත් හොඳයි නේද? Right? Right. Okay, that's the beginning of business, huh? Any business to be successful, you have to network. And then there's a fantastic opportunity to network with 100 into 100, you know, the kind of relationships that you can build. And you never know, right? In here, you might be finding somebody that you have been always looking for, right? You, as he said, in business, you have to find somebody who will complement. And find the best brain for the weakest area of your discipline. If you are not best in finance, find the best person that you can find for finance. Okay? Because in this hotel, many years ago, there was a Japanese conference, professor. He said, at the ground level, you can't replace brains because they have to do the job. But at the higher level of the organization, you can always bring consultants. So they are expensive, but the ground level people are cheap. So always think of what is my best and keep into that and find somebody else to support. In the next 1 hour, what I am trying to do is how to face times like this. Until now, we have been talking about it in textbooks, VUCA times. We thought, okay, VUCA times, and at MBAs they lecture on VUCA times. Huh? When things are volatile, volatile means they go up and down, you cannot predict what is going to happen. Exactly right, love. Eh? You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And uncertain, we haven't lived an uncertain period like this our entire life. When I say entire life, it's a very long time. Right? You don't know, uncertain. And complex. See the complexity of the current time. So many things are at play. Some are political, some are economical, some are social, some are technological, everything is at play. And ambiguous means this or that, you don't know. It's like petrol queue, isn't it? Ambiguous, you don't know whether you'll get petrol or not. And how do you manage business, or how do you live in lives like this, when things are at completely such a high velocity of change? So that's the challenge. I don't have all the answers, but I'll help you think how to find answers, because my answer is not your answer. Right? So you can't learn from others. You have to learn from yourself. But what others can do is stimulate thinking. You know, it's a different perspective. You discover. I think in situations like this, there are three types of people: climbers, campers, and quitters. Okay? So you might find some of them in your organizations. Right? How many of you have people working for you? Can I see hands? Okay, very good. Right? Now then you will, when you go tomorrow, you will see these people in your organization. Just a couple of weeks ago, Quantum Market Research did a survey in Colombo and its suburbs. And they asked SEC A and B ladies, more than 100, what are your topmost problems right now? Almost 80% of them have said it's a financial crisis. Okay, how to meet the budget. 60% said how to provide food for my family, and 56% had said they have psychological problems, stress, mental problems, and 40% have said we have kind of lost our growth path in life. You know, some plan their children to be sent to overseas and they don't know how to do it, and we were planning to do something, right? So for entrepreneurs, this is a fantastic opportunity, because all these people are having problems, isn't it? So if you can find a solution, then there's a business. As he said, every time when somebody is having a problem, that's the opportunity for business. I'm not saying it in a negative way, because all people, you know, all of us, to get things solved by somebody else, right? Except these very exceptionally bright people, most of us would like problems to be solved, isn't it? Huh? Once a friend of mine, when he was young and he was getting, they were asking him to get ready to go to Australia. And, he was throwing his shirts here and there, and they said, you go to Australia, you can't live like that. You have to wash your own clothes. He said, I thought that was a developed country. Yes, it's a developed country. But in here, when I put it down, and next day it is washed, ironed, and back on my wardrobe. So this is a more developed country than Australia, isn't it? Right? So that's human nature. So those are the opportunities you have, isn't it? Right? What is Google solving? A very simple problem. When they went, I can't remember his name, he went to the angel investor, and he said, look here, if he can bring all the information in the world to one computer, it is very easy to find. He thought, that's a very good idea. Businesses can't be very complex ideas. Right? That is chemistry, Right? Then you become a professor. But if it is a business, it has to be simple. Warren Buffett had said, I never invest in complex business. I buy businesses which any fool can run, because I know one day it will be run by a fool. Right? Your business should be so simple, even a fool cannot make a mistake. So don't think very complex. Right? Think simple. I think you're all ready, otherwise you won't be doing business. And today, the biggest curse to Sri Lankan society is this overload of negative information. How many of you watch news on TV? Right? If you want to be successful, stop doing that. Because you just do a content analysis. Right? This is serious stuff. Because there's IT specialist will tell which kind of information get shared more. More horrible the news, it goes faster. And so they will pump that kind of information. And you feed that information with your brain, there's no room for creativity, right? You go home, you watch this. And it's a 5-minute news content that is expanded for half an hour because they want to have 2 commercial breaks. I was in advertising for a long time, right? When we were young, news was 5 minutes, right? And nemta puluwan dahat thawula pellanna music, pravurti sirasthala, pravurti avasan kirimata matten yalit sirasthala. 5 minutes, match over. All what you want to know has already come to your phone as breaking news, and that's good enough because, right? So this is what's happening. And then what happens is you think everything is falling down. I signed up to stay in this program because I wanted to listen and I wanted to see and get some. Otherwise, you can't go because you don't have petrol and you only see what is on the news and what is on the internet. There's nothing good, isn't it? You listen to economists, finish, no? Any economists here? I have a lot of friends who are economists. They will say, okay, everything is bad. But you go to a restaurant, restaurants are full. They think this country is bankrupt. But you just imagine, see the things that are happening, isn't it? People are having weddings, the country is bankrupt. So, don't worry. I just want to tell stories of 2 people. One is a cousin of mine. He broke his back. His spinal cord got injured, and he became a paraplegic. And for 30 years, he thought, I will get some healing, this, that, and the other, that I'll be able to walk. He didn't accept it. So he was in bed for almost 40 years, and he died. Then this gentleman, Dr. Ajit C. Pereira, right? He was a chemistry graduate. His doctorate was in chemistry. He used to work for a chemical company, and one day he parked his car, or he was driving down Green Path, a tree fell, and he got injured, and he got his spinal cord injured, and he was a paraplegic for the rest of his life. What did he do? He wanted to change the lives of paraplegics. Today, if you see any ramp in any of these public buildings, that is thanks to him. He went to Supreme Court and he fought a fundamental rights case and said people with disabilities must be given opportunities. And all these hotels invited him. Then he go within his wheelchair, and then he find these toilets are not practical. Right? So that's how you find in a difficulty. Now this is a kind of a climber, who doesn't? I want you to watch this video. Another blind person. He is the first blind person to have climbed Mount Everest. Right. So what are we talking, huh? Okay. Can we have the video?
Talk about inspiring. Right. Eric Weinmayer is going to extremes on some of the world's most dangerous mountains, canyons, and rivers. Now, he's relying on all senses except sight. It is an astounding journey after becoming blind, one of breaking records and boundaries. They're among the world's most spectacular and scariest places. And imagine conquering them all like this.
I've managed to confront my fears, to take those fears and push them to the peripheries.
The peripheries of the Earth, Everest, Denali, the Himalayas.
How would you define what it is you're seeking?
I think I'm seeking universal human experience.
Born with a rare eye disease, Eric Weinmayer's vision eroded as a child, and by the age of 13, he was completely blind.
I felt like I was in this prison and I didn't know how to get out of it.
He quickly found his way out by tackling the improbable.
I joined the wrestling team.
Wrestling was empowering, and by senior year, he was team captain and headed to the Junior Olympics. What Eric didn't see couldn't hold him back. And then he heard of a blind climbing expedition.
And I thought, that sounds so stupid. Who would ever take a blanket rock climbing? So I signed up.
Pretty soon, he was hooked.
There was a puzzle that I could discover in the rock, and I had to discover that with my hands and my feet, not with my eyes.
His climbs became increasingly ambitious.
We tried 3 mountains, Long's Peak, Rainier, Humphreys Peak. We didn't summit in any of them, but then we went to Denali. 1995, we summited.
Eric set his goal on the world's highest peak, Everest.
It was like, embarking on this incredible journey of discovery.
He coupled safety with a fierce determination, and in 2001, incredibly, Eric Weinmayer became the only blind person to reach the summit of Mount Everest.
I remember counting my breaths and listening to the sound of space around me.
Amazingly, that was just the beginning of more challenges.
My life sort of turned into learning some insights into how to break through barriers.
Leading blind children through Tibet. Over the Andes, Eric carefully negotiated risk. And he hit another extraordinary milestone 7 years after Everest, completing the 7 summits, the highest mountains on every continent.
The outdoors is the greatest laboratory I think we have on Earth.
Always seeking a new adventure, Eric began to kayak.
What made you decide to tackle kayaking?
I found myself on the banks of the Colorado River at 40 years old with my friend saying, yeah, I want to teach you how to kayak. It's going to be really cool.
He loved it, and after years of training, with a team helping to guide him, Eric took on the Grand Canyon's daunting whitewater. 277 miles down the Colorado River in a single kayak, navigating some of the most terrifying rapids in America. An astounding feat.
The river is a good place. You almost have to let go.
Eric took me kayaking near his home in Golden, Colorado. This is how his team helps.
All right, small ride.
By telling him what he can't see for himself. In No Barriers, a blind man.
So you will say, right, that is Americans, what about Sri Lankans? How many of you have seen this lady's story? It was going viral. She had a heart problem, and then she invented the oximeter, right? And she's, I think she has now commercialized it. How many of you have seen that video? Right, do you want me to show it? I just show it. These 2 examples I shared with you, and I would like you to tie them up with 2 things that you heard already. When Mr. Asanga Ranasinghe spoke, he said 3 things. 1, The world is globalizing at a speed, technology is changing, and then everybody is concerned about social responsibility, living. Then we heard, to be a good entrepreneur, you need to solve somebody's problem, but at a profit. And wherever you read about entrepreneurs who are successful, they are first focused on solving the problem and helping the mankind. Then the money comes. Actually, money is an outcome. We call it a business results, isn't it? Accountants present business results. Results is always a result of something. The speed of a car, speedometer shows the speed, which is the result of so many factors. So focus on the process, the outcome will come. A lot of the time people make the mistake of focusing on the result, and you can't improve the result, you can improve only the process. So the climbers are the people who see opportunities in adversity, who will think, how can I change? How can I improve? Always they believe in things that others don't believe. One of the best companies that I have been studying is Southwest Airlines. I invite you to go and study Southwest Airlines on the internet. It's the first low-cost airline. And the logic was, how can you have an airline which is cheaper than driving between Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio, the three cities in a triangle? No banker will bank an idea like that, you know. But he believed in this. So that's the kind of attitude the climbers have. Campers are the people who will sit and wait, you know, while others are doing, yeah, go ahead, and, you know, I encourage you, and then I sit and wait, you know. And then, of course, there are quitters who give up halfway. So a lot of people give up halfway, right? Because it's not easy for people to continue when they are faced with difficulties. So quitters is a lot. I think Sri Lanka, if we are to succeed, we need to have more climbers than quitters. Unfortunately, we have been conditioned for rights and things to come by easy. We are complaining today, but we have been enjoying things that we shouldn't have been enjoying. How many years have we enjoyed subsidies? Isn't it? We pay the same price that the Samurdhi person also pays. So there's something terribly wrong. Right? Isn't it? Even your son goes to school, he gets the set of books and uniforms. Excuse me, your son definitely can afford, but oh well, it's like that, so you get that. So we are paying for it because we have been living off the credit card, paying only the minimum and the interest, and suddenly the bank has said, excuse me, your credit limit is over. Okay? So, what shall we do? Huh? And now it is 36%, right? So it's all about individual's world. Everybody thinks about their world. So you think of your world, everybody else is thinking of their world. So the way you approach it, I like Ranil's presentation because he touched some of the things that I am going to touch anyway. Right? It's the way that you look at it. Right? And people are frustrated when they are helpless. People are angry only when they are helpless. And I have seen a lot of business people, they get angry. When do they get angry? When things don't go your way. When would you toot your horn very loud, consistent? Not when you're cruising on the highway. So if somebody is angry, if you are angry, then tell yourself, I'm very weak. Even if he's a president, if he's angry, it means he has no power. If you have power, you will never get angry. So if you have got angry, then you are helpless, and that is the wrong response because it will only create a negative situation. I learned a very interesting lesson through this TV series called, Kung Fu? I think Kung Fu. Right? Long time ago on TV it showed, and then during Corona again they serialized it again. It's a very powerful story. It's about a young Shaolin monk, who learns at a Shaolin temple in China, and then he grows up and goes to West in America, and he gets involved with various problems. And then these lessons come. He says, be one with the moment. Be one with the moment. The lesson, this was shared on a scene where he was put in a pit with a lot of snakes. And he remembered, be one with the moment. So he didn't move. And he didn't get any problem with the snakes. Applications. As a young man, I wanted to go to Badulla by train, and I thought it will be the most beautiful train journey in Sri Lanka. I got into the train, but I couldn't get a seat. I was standing at the place where there's the toilet, and at that point there's no window. You know that. And it was full. I couldn't even move. So as the train was passing Kalania, already the bad smell were coming, and I was very unhappy. Then suddenly I remembered the lesson. Be one with the moment. When you are in a crisis, if you start struggling, you lose energy. It's like drowning. So if you learn to be one with the moment, you will gain composure to fight. So this is very important when you are managing in VUCA times. Gain composure quickly. Don't fight. Because you want a solution, not a fight. Are you with me? Am I making it clear? Okay. And these are given to us as stories. But we have forgotten those stories. ළමයින්ට දාන නේද පංචායුධ? පොඩි අයට දානනේ පංචායුධ. ඇයි පංචායුධ දාන්නේ? අහලා තියෙනවද? බය වෙනවටනේ. බය වෙනවට. Now the story of the Panchayuda Kumara was that he had these 5 weapons. And when he confronted that, the demon, and he hit with all 5 weapons, and all got stuck in his body, and now he was going to eat him. Then he said, you dare not eat me because I have another weapon inside me. If you try to eat me, I will destroy you within. So we heard that story and forgotten. What is the moral of that story? The best weapon is your brain. That's what Ranil was doing. So have faith in your brain. Right? When all things have failed, now is the time to use my brain and start thinking. That's how you can compete in times like this. You need all these lessons to help you. Right? These are not new things, but we have forgotten. Similarly, the story about the caravan. They went in the desert, and then suddenly the guy who was supposed to navigate fell asleep, and they went all the way and came back to the same place, and by that time they had finished their water. The leader. See, these stories were told to us, but we never learned the lesson. We remember the story. He didn't scold the person who messed it up. He said, can we find a solution? So this is very important when you are managing people in your organization. There will be people who will mess up things. So don't waste time scolding him. Important thing is how to find solutions. He said, let's look at, now we are in this place. Okay? Blaming him will not take you anywhere. He looked around and he found a spot with little grass. He said, if there is grass, there must be water. Let's dig a well. And then he found a stone, and they broke the stone, and then they found water. So what's the moral of the story? Never give up. Find solutions. See, we have missed the lesson but remember the story. So I'm helping you to remember the lesson now that you know the story. Right? These are the kind of mindsets that we need if you are to conclude. I will read this for you. This is one of my favorite books, The Book of Five Rings. If you can lay your hands, read that book. It's by a samurai, Japanese samurai, you know, the sword fighters. In challenging situations, your mind will be as you have conditioned it. You see, the mind is something that you can train. If you haven't trained to gain composure in difficulty, then you will be agitated. But if you have trained your mind to be at ease, even in the time of crisis, then you will see things that others don't see. In challenging situations, your mind will be as you have conditioned it. In every moment, train yourself to be calm, expectant, observant. See things as they are. Do not be taken by surprise. Let your senses be open, your mind relaxed, your spirit balanced. Tomorrow we will do some exercises to get to this. Meet every challenge with a firm yet flexible attitude, centering your attention on determining reality. Focus on reality. And he says, when you are faced with a tiger, it is in fact a tiger, neither something greater nor something less. You stand a far better chance with your eyes open and your spirit calm. Right now, we are in a crisis in the country. Nobody should say, no, there's no problem. There is a problem. But this is not the first country that has faced a situation like that. And Lebanon took 10 years, but it doesn't mean that we had to take 10 years. Right? But if you don't understand the problem, what is in front of us, as it is, then you will not solve the problem. So don't let problem, blind you. These are very, very simple lessons, but you need to bring it into your heart. Don't let these things confuse you. So what you do is very simple. You accept the reality. Gain composure. Composure. Right? අපි සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ කොරස් කටේ අත දාගන්න බෑ කියලා හදිස්සි වුණාම. See the amount of wisdom in those statements. කොරස් කටේ is so big, no? Right? And strategize. Like the caravan leader. Strategize and implement. So you can't strategize if you do not gain composure. You will not strategize proper unless you develop a proper understanding of the situation. In your business, when you have a problem, take a step back and see. Because the moment you make that problem part of you, because when you are starting a business, your life is your business. So therefore it's very difficult to identify the problem as a business problem. That's why you get stressed up and then become very, very unhappy. Business is different, you are different. It's a very thin line. Even the problem is a problem. It's not you. We will talk some of these things tomorrow, but I don't have time to do all that. But it's a very important point. Because when it becomes your problem, you are inside it. Right? If you are inside the problem, you don't see. That's why we are very good in giving solutions to others. Isn't it? We consultants leave because we just take the problem out and say, this is the problem, let's solve it. And he finds a solution, I get the fee. Right? So that's what I'm trying to say. Right? That is what is needed. Lightly do that. Once, a very, very experienced business person, he had a driver. He was coming on Timiriyasa Road, and the car got stopped suddenly. He asked why. Sir, petrol ne. Not recently, a long time ago. Right? Oh, I see. He got off the car. He hailed a three-wheeler. He came to office. He didn't say anything to the driver. Called his secretary. මේ අර ඩ්‍රයිවර්ගේ මාස 3ක පඩි ලෑස්ති කරලා තියන්න දැන් when he comes. So he somehow managed to get, those days you can get petrol to the can, and so he went and got petrol in the can and all that, and came back, and then he came back to office. So he called and said, ළමයෝ රියදුරු මහත්තයාගේ පළවෙනි කාරණේ තමයි වාහනේ දුවන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට තියාගන්න එක. ඔයාට ඒක බැරි වුණානේ. ඉතින් ඒකින්ද ඔයා වෙන වැඩක් හොයාගන්න. මෙන්න මාස 3ක පඩි යතුරු තියලා යන්න. එච්චරයි. No scolding, not getting angry, nothing. You see, you need to think, okay, what am I trying to get from this anger? Sometimes you need it, right? Then you are using it as a tool. You are not angry, but you are pretending you are angry. That's okay. Right? That's okay, because then you are not angry. Because if you are angry, right, රුපියල් 50 වැරද්දට ගොඩක් business leadersලා රුපියල් 5000ක 50000ක විතර බයිනවා. Then what happens is that person he doesn't get the message. He thinks මේකට මෙච්චර බයින්නේ ඇයි. You see? So that's what happens. Then about finances, because of this problem has many aspects, I will give you a very small finance lesson. Don't worry, I'm not good in finance myself. I'm not a finance person, so I'm a marketing person. So marketing people and finance people, they never go together, right? Yeah. But this is a very important one. Now these days everybody wants to cut costs, expenses. Your expenses are a result of your choices. Your choices are the result of your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is a result of your values and beliefs. So if you want to manage your expenses, you need to start managing here, values and beliefs. You see? So without doing that, you can't do that. Now see what has happened to the country. Now we have a petrol problem. In the 1970s, also we had a crisis like this, but we never had petrol queues because there were no cars. Right? We never had power cuts because there was no electricity in most houses. We didn't know about gas, and there was no gas problem. That was our lifestyle. But not because of our choice, because that was the thing. But let's take this as an example. So maybe one day you meet me on the road. Face looks familiar. One day at Kingsbury, you go, yes. Oh, you are a lecturer, Deepal, and all that. So you want to invite me to have a cup of tea. You think I'm an entrepreneur, so I must show him that I'm successful. So why don't I invite him to have tea at Hilton? So you go to Hilton, right? You make a choice. Because you think if Deepal is a management consultant, I am an entrepreneur, we must have tea at Hilton. Now, when you go to Hilton, how much do you think a cup of tea would cost us? Easily 2 cups would end up 1,000 rupees. No? Now, you can't cut corners there, no? Deepal, now you can come here, but we can't order no cookies and no, but still you have to pay. The moment you make the choice, the cost is decided. But if you are a very simple person, oh, Deepal, is very nice meeting you, but do you know there's a very nice dosa kade round Hospital Street, shall we go and have a cup of tea there? Right? And we go and have a cup of tea there, 100 rupees, very happy. But you cannot do that if you don't believe in simplicity. That's the kind of thing that I'm trying to say. Right? When I became the managing director of AVIVA, they said, you must have a Mercedes. I said, excuse me, I come from Mirihana, 14 kilometers, and the maximum speed I can come is 20 kilometers per hour, that is if I am lucky. And I don't need a Mercedes to come. No, because you are a CEO of our company, you have to be, this is standard package. I said, no, I don't need. Then they said, no, you have to maintain your image in the society. I said, yeah, everybody knows me, Deepal, Sooriyaarachchi, and if I come in a Mercedes, they will ask, what has happened to you? You know, I convinced that I don't need a Mercedes to drive business results. because I could do that. Not everybody can do that, right? Sometimes you need, isn't it? Right? Now today, you can have a very powerful, very good looking website, and then you get a foreign partner to come. So you don't invite him home. You say, okay, let's book, you book a boardroom in Hilton or Shangri-La, and then you have a good meeting there. Right? Look at some companies. They spend enormous amount to build a very powerful boardroom. How many times they use the boardroom? Not worth. Right? So these are the times to think like that. You know. So in Google they say, you can be great being casual. See, the moment you do that, everything works. Right? So when I started, after leaving my full-time work, and when I decided to do my own work, I decided I will not wear ties. How much is a tie now? A good tie is about minimum 3,000, 4,000 rupees. See the cost saving, right? Right? I wear jeans, so what happens? How many times can you wear a jean? No? Yeah. So values and beliefs, lifestyle, choices, and expenses. So even after leaving the corporate world, I haven't changed my lifestyle, because even at that time I was living a very simple life. I don't think being simple means poor. Right? You have to live for yourself. Don't live for other people. Right? Who cares? These are not my words. Huh? Warren Buffett said, if you buy things you do not need, soon you will have to sell things you need. That's what has happened to our country. Right? We are going to sell a lot of things that what to do, right? So in your company, have these things. Teach your team this equation. Income minus expenses equals savings. That is the way a lot of people save. Income minus savings equals expenses. Now in an inflationary time, you can't buy things which are going to go up in value. That's a different thing. But the concept is you need to rationalize it, right? And I, as a managing director, still, when I was MD at Eagle, which is AIA now, the induction to people, I somehow found that day and I did it myself. Because there's nobody in the company who can sell the company's vision than the CEO. Right? Whenever you have to recruit a person, find some time, get him to sit with you and tell your story, tell your dream, what are the values. Because in Sri Lanka, it's not easy to get people out. Right? When you have to buy a piece of equipment, you do so many calculations. Right? Your finance will want to do IRR and see, what is the rate of return and all these things. But when you want to recruit, you don't do that. But that's far more costly a decision than buying a piece of equipment, isn't it? Right? If it doesn't work, you sell. But if your employee doesn't work, you can't sell. Right? It's a massive cost. So, and this is one of the lessons I gave them, because you can't keep increasing salaries. Right? And we have been hearing this, right? In the constitution, the government must give priority to Buddhism and all that is there. But this teaching they haven't listened. Your investment should be, 50% should be invested in the business. Right? I assume that all of you have a separate account for business and separate account for yourself. And I found at once, I did a seminar organized by Sampath Bank, and there were so many young entrepreneurs, they don't have a separate business account and a personal account. It's a separate thing, right? How many of you have limited liability companies registered? I think, right, that's something that you need to do. It's a bit expensive, but what happens is everything gets accounted for. And it's business, not you, right? And you can't then just get money from the business. Otherwise, what happens is, turnover becomes your income, and suddenly the bank becomes your customer, not the customers. Right? I was on the bank board for 9 years, so I know what happens to people when you don't have financial literacy, right? So invest in your business as if you are bringing up a child. Don't take money from the business. Let it grow, make the investments, right? And invest in your skills also continuously. And get your team financially literate. It doesn't mean that everybody need to read balance sheets, but basically concepts in finance. I don't have time to go through it. I wanted to broach this subject so that you can search and learn. And this is something that I would like every one of you to have with you. Right now it is time to learn Chinese. Okay? Chinese letters are unlike our letters, these are pictures. The first character, and this what I have put it here is called Wei Chi. Can you say it with me? Wei Chi. Once again? Wei Chi means crisis, danger, problem. Then we are in a Wei Chi, right? Now, Chinese, when they say Wei Chi, the first character means crisis and danger, that kind of negative things. The second character, it means opportunity. Now, can you imagine, when a Chinese person hears the word Wei Chi, what are the kind of mental images that come to their mind? Crisis and an opportunity. It's amazing, isn't it? Now, when you say party, right, it conjures so many images in your mind. Food, drinks, friends, dance, clothes, whatever. Similarly, when a Chinese man's here, ching, 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 Wei Chi, there's a crisis, but there's an opportunity, isn't it? It's not the negative way, kaladu tugara valahiyagan. That is, it has a far bigger meaning than this from Buddhist philosophy, right? I will not explain it, but it says you are born in a time where Dhamma is there, right? And then Vala means apaya, means hell, get out of it. That's a far bigger meaning, but we haven't learned that, nor Wei Chi, right? I learned this in a class in Singapore University. Somebody in our class, when we were talking about crisis management, he said in Chinese, this is what he says. I said, that's a very interesting thing, and for me, that explains why Chinese success. Right? Just look at it. We were having the war. Remember? And all the West people are saying, you don't have human rights records and all that, therefore we don't want to bring investment. Chinese government saw. They have a strategic interest in Sri Lanka, not because we are good people, because this is a nice piece of strategic landmass. So much so, Winston Churchill, when he was interviewed after the war, he was asked, tell me the most defining moment in the war. He said, there's an island called Ceylon, and they have a port called Trincomalee, and the Japanese were going to invade that. If they were successful, the Second World War would have been a completely different result. Can you see? So that's how strategic Trincomalee is. Now when you think back, we made a blunder by asking British to go from there. Because although they left, I don't think their strategic interest in Trincomalee has gone. Right? Lee Kuan Yew insisted and pleaded British to stay back. They didn't stay back because he thought by sending them away, I'm giving a wrong signal to British industries. What did we do? We sent the petroleum companies out. We sent the plantation companies out. Right? And we lost a lot of business opportunities because we didn't see the opportunity in the crisis. But the Chinese saw crisis here, nobody was helping us. They said, okay, we'll help you. We don't care about your governance and all that. That is your problem, right? They saw as an opportunity. So can you see the national level of thinking on this? So I told this friend of mine in the class, can you write it for me? So next day, he wrote it in calligraphy in rice paper, gave it to me, and this was the only thing that I took home when I retired from Eagle. I had this in front of my table. Every time there's a crisis, problem, I look at it. I helped 4 people from committing suicide by showing this. Okay, you have a crisis. Let's see what are the opportunities coming from it. So every time you hit the wall, ask the question, what's the opportunity? So, in VUCA times, right, these things becomes very useful. So that's why I'm giving you little tools to use. To improve, you must question. To question, you must see. If you don't see, you don't ask questions. To see, you must observe. To observe, you must be focused. To focus, there must be silence. Silence is not absence of sound. Silence is not absence of noises. Silence is having full attention to this moment. Every day, or at least once a week, be a complete outsider to your business. If you have a workshop, walk as if you are an outsider. Ask, why is this? Why is this? Why am I doing this? Look at your processes and draw it on a wall and see, why are we doing this process? And you will find opportunities to improve. That's what you mean by observing. Okay? So question, see, observe, focus, and silence. Right? Okay, let's do a small exercise. What do you see in this picture? What do you see here? Huh? Sorry? Taking water. Water or food. Okay, right? What else? Huh? Lack of easy access to water. I want you to describe what you see in these pictures without getting into poverty. Bringing pots. Yeah, that's the kind of observation I want first. I'll come to you later, right? They are carrying some pots. Some other observations? What do you see in this picture? Walking, yeah, they are walking. Women, yes. See, none of these men observed that, right? The women. Another difference between the two pictures? She is smiling. Okay. Another difference? Different type of clothes, right? What else? Basic, not complicated things. Yes, these people are going away from us. These people are coming to us. Now, this is the difficulty of observing, right? Because the moment you want to observe, our history, our knowledge comes into play. We have seen women carrying water, therefore we immediately came to the conclusion that these women must be carrying water. Who knows? I used to work in a polythene company long time ago, and there was a man who came to buy polythene. He said he wanted to buy 12-inch polythene, but he was not sure of the thickness. I asked, what do you want to do? Then I asked, do you export fish? He said, no. And he's not telling me the thickness. Then I asked, Mahatya kohinan dave? He said, Dankotuwa. I said, Dankotuwa nan gauge 300 geniyan. Because those days from Dankotuwa they used to transport Kasipu. Now you being entrepreneurs, these are opportunities, right? And those days Kasipu was better than petrol. Right? And what they do is they take this 12-inch, or am I giving trade secret? Doesn't matter, no? Right? They take 12-inch polythene and seal it from one side, put Kasipu and seal on the other side, put it on the bottom of the boxes with bring fish. This is to improve fish transportation, right? So they come to Colombo from Dankotuwa. Yeah, right? You see, so that's what happens, right? So when you observe, start observing the basic. right? Things like there's women, they are carrying some things on their head. We don't know whether it is water or whether they are coming from the Angkotua, right? So, and you said access to water, right? Okay, let's agree that they are carrying water. And if you define the problem as access to water, these are the kind of solutions that come to your mind, isn't it? Okay, now look at the picture again. In addition to, okay, we agree that they have access to water is a problem. Can you look at them and see, can you define their problem in a different way? What another problem do they have, you think? Not enough men. Men are very useful to do what? Yes? Huh? Infrastructure development, okay? Right? Any married ladies know the usefulness of men in situations like this? Huh? What do you think? What is another problem these ladies have, if you are very sensitive to them right now? Huh? Carrying. Yes, that's right. So now we say, it's not the access to problem, access to water, but carrying. If carrying is the problem, what's the kind of solution we can think? If carrying is the problem, what are the kind of solutions you can think of? Now you are entrepreneurs, no? Think of a solution. A better container to carry, yeah? Okay, that's one solution. What else? What are the alternatives to carrying? A cart, transport, right? Okay. So some cart, right? Look at somebody has done. This is called Q drum. You don't even carry, you don't even push. You pull water along like you do the traveling bag. When I saw this on National Geographic, like this, why didn't we think of a solution like that? Because we were not sensitive to it. Right? See, what a brilliant answer. Right? Isn't it? So it is not available in Sri Lanka yet, right? Now, again look at this picture. Right? What's another way to look at that problem? So first time we looked at and said, access to water is a problem. Second time, we said carrying is the problem. Right? Some of you said at the beginning, these people are poverty. Right? Isn't it? So if you think their problem is poverty, what are the kind of solutions that come to your mind? What can we do? Now the problem is not access to water, not carrying, but poverty. Duppatkama. Monawada apita enna solutions oluwata? Huh? Yeah, some business, eh? Right, yeah. Right, microfinance, things. Now see, we saw one situation and defined it in 3 different ways. Okay? So my suggestion is, when you are confronted with a problem in your business, try to define it from different points of view, because you will get different answers. The definition of the problem has the answer in it. You see? Most of the problems are defined by the problem definition. So you think of answers in that way. Somebody is sick and they think this is apala kale. So then keep on doing those things. And there are stories of people dying because they have gone for this faith healer, this healer, that healer, but it is COVID. Right? So problem definition. Right? So a lot of husbands think wife is the problem. Right? So the problem definition is wrong. So you change this wife and get another wife, same problem. Because he's the problem, right? So very important, how to define the problem. This is a fundamental thing in business solutions. Okay? Let's take an example. So the quality of observation determines the quality of the question. In the question lies the answer. Our questions are influenced by our conditioning. Right? If you are a finance person, you will see the problem from a finance point of view. Now, if you look at the Sri Lanka's current problem, right, I did a program on Rupawahini called Big Question. They wanted me to say the same thing, but I said, no, this is not only an economic problem. This is not only a political problem. For me, this is an educational problem as well. This is a problem of lack of values. Right? In schools, the best students become engineers. How many engineers are here in this audience? Any engineers? Okay, right. I mean, the best guys become engineers because they have the highest IQ. CEB has some of the best engineers in this country. Excuse me? So if we have the best engineers at CEB and most of them are engineers, how come we are in this mess? Huh? So the brains, so it's not about IQ problem, isn't it? So can you see there's a value problem. So it's an educational problem. So every problem, you can look at it from different point of view and then you will think of different answers. So what we need is, if you want to be successful in business, newer questions, right? Every day ask questions. So when you are interviewing people, don't look for people with answers. Look for people with questions. Ask, what are the questions you can ask right now about life? You know, what are the things that you are worried about? Thinking, isn't it? I remember when I was a child, I had some very funny questions. Those days, you know, Sri Lanka is one country where you can tell the generation that you belong by looking at your name. In England, you can't, no? King is George, son is George, grandson is also George. In Sri Lanka, grandfather is Abraham Apuami, tata is Wilfred, and you are Sasanka and your son is Babambam. You know, you don't know, isn't it? The new names, you don't know how to pronounce them even, right? So my problem was, when I die, my name doesn't fit into those names that I used to see, Arichawata Sankara, you know, Abraham Silva, Marila, Abhava Prapti. Deepal Sugathadasa is too young at that time, so those are the problems I had. So you need newer questions, right? Take another example. Now see, this is very typical, but I did this slide in when I was at the Inventors Commission, right? Now, they think the queues, right, is a discipline problem. That's why they put police and army, and now I think very soon they have to bring armored cars also to the queues, right? And if you see some of the cinemas in Maradana, they still have the second class and the gallery queue. You know, there's barbed wire even on the top, because they think it is a discipline problem. But it is one too many, right? So if you make it 1 to 1, then there's no problem. So we have solved this queue problem long time ago, right? We had mechanical things, and we had technology, visual, and ICT. I have been writing and sending proposals to solve these petrol queues. All what you need is take the echanneling.com platform and equate a petrol shed to a hospital and a petrol pump to a doctor and get people to book. And with algorithms today, you can differentiate who should get more, who should get less, and who can be charged more, who can be charged less, isn't it? Right? Why should a V8 person pay the same price that C50 scooter fellow pays? You know, I think we should do that. Because in Sri Lanka, I think if we digitalize a lot of things, all this corruption can be taken away. The second best students become doctors. And doctors are the people who objected to thumb impressions for attendance. Can you imagine? Is it not an intellectual problem? Isn't it? It's the most simplest way of putting attendance, right? So it's not necessarily. I'm just giving you an example. I'll take 5 minutes, 10 minutes more from your time because you had more time for tea break, right? The gas problem, right? Now look at the gas problem of apartments, small apartments, where they don't have centralized gas system. Now what are we doing? In petrol, what have we done? I think everybody is storing more than needed. Right? So say if you say every village is a big petrol station because everyone has petrol. Same thing with gas. So I was thinking, if you take a housing complex, you have a common kitchen. You have some master big, these huge 37 kilograms stations, the cans, and say you pay only for the gas that you use. So you have a meter, and then you encourage people to bring their thing and then cook and go pay for the gas they use. Then when you do that, there can be new business opportunities. Somebody will say, I will have all cut vegetables like in some of these buffets, right? You pick your ones and make your curry and go home and pay for that. And it can be a very interesting thing, right? So that's how you look at a problem. You don't have to give gas to everybody because they need gas only when they need to cook. Other times you don't need the gas cylinder, isn't it? You discover there's no gas when the gas goes off, no? You don't go every day and weigh the gas cylinder normally, right? So it will be like this community washing places. So that's how you define the problem differently, right? How many of you are familiar with the 6 thinking hats of Edward D. Bono? Right? I invite you to go to internet and watch this. Right? Because he says thinking is a skill that you need to develop. So let's look at these 6 thinking hats against my suggestion for a community kitchen for all these housing schemes. Right? White hat. We need to calculate how many kilos of gas this housing unit will need, and how many people are there, and how much, that kind of thing. Those are the facts. Then you look at black hat, the difficulties. What are the difficulties? They have to bring all their stuff. It is not practical, and that kind of all the negatives that can happen. Red hat, right? Feelings, hunches, and instinctions. Maybe people will not want others to see what you are cooking, and you might feel bad to cook something good when others are not cooking, that kind of thing, feelings. Huh? Then yellow hat, values and benefits, like I said, then you pay only for the gas you use and things like that. Green hat, the creative ideas, there will be more opportunities to have pre-prepared things and things like that. Now we have got all these ideas, then you are richer with your business idea, and then you sit down, what are the steps needed? Okay, we need to buy 37 kg things, and then you need to buy meters, and then whatever, you have to have a heart. So that's how. So use this kind of techniques without running with one idea. Then what happens is you start looking at it from different points of view, right? So now we are moving on to developing strategies. You have a problem, you have an opportunity, you gain composure, right, especially in these times, and then start looking at it from different points of view. Another one, again problem definition, because we are not very good in defining problems. People say, is Malupang good or bad for health? Malupang good or bad for health? I want to answer, yes or no? Good or bad? Bad. But we eat Malupang, no? And they said instead of palm piti, we have to give kurakkam piti and hal piti. And does it work? It doesn't work. Because we think if palm piti is bad, we have to replace it with kurakkam piti. Now, what is the problem we have? It's not about kurakkam piti or hal piti. Why do people eat Malupang? Huh? One is hungry, okay, then why Malupang? Huh? It's cheap? Tasty? Convenience. What do you mean by convenience? Okay, compare it with something else. Okay, so otherwise you don't know what is convenience, right? What is the convenience? Can you go deeper into this convenience? What do you mean by convenient? You don't have to cook. Okay, fine. You don't have to sit down to eat. Yes? You can eat while walking. You don't have to wash your hands properly. Fixed price. You don't need a plate. Can you see? So we are comparing eating kadala or rice with eating with malu palm. So, and we know palm pit is bad. Right? Now, if you define the problem as, can we come up with a food item that is made from rice, but it is convenient to eat, you can eat on the go, you don't have to wash your fingers to do that, you don't need a plate. Now your mind will work differently, right? Like this. For example, you make lavarier and change the lavarier mixture inside from penipol to malu palm mixture. Then you have got malu veria, right? Or aggala, isn't it? Aggala is made out of rice to be eaten on the go, right? See? So you come up with a different concept. In doing that, there are 5 things good entrepreneurs, good innovators do. First is they observe. So from the morning, my main thing was about observing, right? Then they question. So we learned how to make a different question. Then of course you experiment, right? You don't go and try this with all the housing schemes, we try with one. Networking, right? I told you the importance of networking. And associational thinking means bringing things together which are not normally together. 20 years ago, there were digital cameras, right? How many of you have used a real camera? Can I see hands? Camera, you know what I mean, camera. Huh? Yeah, okay. How many of you have taken photographs? Everyone has taken photographs. Now, those who had cameras, didn't you have the experience, oh, I wish I had my camera. You see something beautiful and say, oh, I wish I had my camera. So somebody made this observation. Then they asked, you don't carry your camera all the time, but you carry your phone all the time. So can we bring the camera and the phone together? So that was the first prototype. You had a digital camera attached to the phone like a rubber band, and then you got a digital camera. And today you don't know what is the camera, what is the phone. And this is another example. When I was at the Inventors Commission, every year somebody had improved the rubber tapping knife. How many of you have seen people doing this rubber tapping? Yeah? Okay. So I always challenge those engineers. I said, no, you are solving the wrong problem. Who wants to do rubber tapping? So I asked, can't you find a solution where you can extract the rubber latex without going from this Gahengahata, you know? Right? Who wants your son to become a rubber tapper? Ne? I don't think anybody wants. They said, no, not possible. I said, if something can be imagined, it is possible. I'm one of those crazy guys who says, if something can be imagined, it is possible. This is what happened. In China or Thailand, they have done exactly that. Right? They have got a kind of a little robotic rubber tapping thing, and the latex is collected, and there is this pump at the end of the plantation. It pumps all the things. See? Right? So, to improve, you must question. To question, you must see. To see, you must observe. To observe, there must be focus. To focus, there must be silence. And tomorrow, I will teach you how to become silent. And here's another thing I want you to remember, and this will give you a lot of business opportunities. If any task is repetitive, doing over and over again, and logical, means there's a pattern. However complex the logic is, such tasks should be done and will be done by machines. Right? However complex. Okay. What is complex? Cooking in the hotel or cooking at home? Complex. Repetitive, no? Right? Home is very complex. Huh? So hotel you can imagine doing a machine, but not home, no? So I'll watch this before your lunch, right? And that's all I have for today. Lunch, huh? This
is the Molly Robotic Kitchen.
Right. So those of you who are thinking of getting married, don't worry, there's a solution, right? I mean, like, worried about having to cook, right? So whether it is VUCA times or other times, if you want to be successful, you need to think afresh. To think afresh, you need to observe and ask questions differently. And in the question lies the answer. Like when you are hungry, you have to have lunch. Thank you very much and all the very best. See you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much, Mr. Deepal, for your extremely profound session on VUCA times, the difficult times we all are facing, but I'm pretty sure, as he mentioned, we're going to overcome very soon rather than later. Now, as I mentioned, his commitment and his commitment for the development of young entrepreneurs is simply phenomenal. And he's been very supportive right from the beginning in terms of this project. And he's very supportive for me as well. You know, like everyone's having this agenda. Actually, he gave me a lot of advices when it comes to preparing the agenda as well, and also to get the other resource persons as well. And it's really emphatic that like Dr. Ranil Sugathadasa, Mr. Deepal Sooriyaarachchi is also volunteering without any payment, and he's doing his commitment for the young entrepreneurs and for the country as well. So ladies and gentlemen, have a big round of applause to Dr. Mr. Deepal Sooriyaarachchi. Thank you so much once again, Mr. Deepal Sooriyaarachchi. So now we're gonna have the lunch break. After the lunch break, so we're gonna have some very special sessions. So I reckon that it's better to go for the lunch break now, since everyone is, you know, kind of busy and all, kind of very, yes. So we'll meet after the lunch break. One moment, please. Just one moment. And really sorry about the interruption. And actually, we have a token of appreciation to Mr. Deepal Sooriyaarachchi as well. And to present the token of appreciation, once again, I will invite Mr. Kirti, SVP, FCCSL, and also Mr. Ruan De Silva, FCCSL. Please appear on stage. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Mr. Deepal Sooriyaarachchi, once again. So we're going to have the lunch break now. You can take about 20 minutes, and then we're going to start the next session at 2 p.m.